On September 16, 1994, there was a UFO sighting outside Ruwa, Zimbabwe. 62 students at the Ariel School aged between 6 and 12 claimed that they saw one or more silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near their school. One or more creatures dressed all in black then approached the children and telepathically communicated to them a message with an environmental theme. The Fortean writer Jerome Clark has called the incident the most remarkable close encounter of the third kind of the 1990s. Skeptics have described the incident as one of mass hysteria. Not all the children at the school that day claimed that they saw something. Several of those that did maintain that their account of the incident is true. Ruwa is a small agricultural center located 22 kilometers southeast of the capital Harare. At the time of the incident, it was not a town but only a local place name, little more than a crossroads in an agricultural region. Ariel School was an expensive private school. Most of the pupils were from wealthy white families. 2 days prior to the incident at Ariel, there had been a number of UFO sightings throughout southern Africa. There had been numerous reports of a bright fireball passing through the sky at night. Many people answered ZBC radio's request to call in and describe what they had seen. Although some witnesses interpreted the fireball as a comet or meteor, it resulted in a wave of UFO mania in Zimbabwe at the time. According to skeptic Brian Dunning, the fireball had been the re-entry of the Zenit 2 rocket from the Cosmos 2290 satellite launch. The booster broke up into burning streaks as it moved silently across the sky, giving an impressive light show to millions of Africans. Local UFO researcher Cynthia Hind recorded other alien sightings at this time, including a daylight sighting by a young boy and his mother, and a report of alien beings on a road by a trucker. The sightings at Ariel occurred at 10 a.m. on September 16, 1994, when pupils were outside on mid-morning break. The adult faculty at the school were inside having a meeting at the time. The entire incident lasted about 15 minutes. When the children returned to class, they told the teachers what they had seen, but were dismissed. When they returned home, they told their parents. Many of those parents came to the school the next day to discuss what had happened with the faculty. The sighting was reported on ZBC radio, from where Cynthia Hind learned about it. Hind visited the school the next day. She interviewed the children and asked them to draw pictures of what they had seen. She reported that the children all told her the same story. The BBC's correspondent in Zimbabwe, Tim Leach, visited the school on September 19th to film interviews with pupils, staff, and Hind. After investigating this incident, Leach claimed, "I could handle war zones, but I could not handle this." That November, Harvard University professor of psychiatry, John Mack, visited the Ariel School to interview witnesses. Throughout the 1990s, Mack investigated UFO sightings and had a particular interest in the alien abduction phenomenon. In May 1994, the dean of Harvard Medical School, Daniel C. Toastson, appointed a committee of peers to confidentially review Mack's clinical care and clinical investigation of the people who had shared their alien encounters with him. Some of their cases were written of in Mack's 1994 book, Abduction. The issue was that Mack had communicated to these people that their experience may have been real. After 14 months, Harvard issued a statement stating that the dean had reaffirmed Dr. Mack's academic freedom to study what he wishes and to state his opinions without impediment, concluding that Dr. Mack remains a member in good standing of the Harvard Faculty of Medicine. According to the interviews of Hind, Leach, and Mack, 62 children between the ages of 6 and 12 claimed to have seen at least one UFO. Not all of the children at the school claimed a sighting. The basic details of the sightings were quite consistent, although not all the details were. One or more silver objects, usually described as discs, appeared in the sky. They then floated down to a field of brush and small trees just outside the school property. Between 1 and 4 creatures with big eyes and dressed all in black exited a craft and approached the children. At this point, many of the children ran, but some, mostly older pupils, stayed and watched the approach. According to Mack's interviews, the creature or creatures then telepathically communicated to the children an environmental message before returning to the craft and flying away. According to Dunning, this telepathic message aspect of the story was not included in Hind or Leach's reports, only Mack's, although Hind reported it later. In Mack's interviews, one 5th grader tells how he was warned about something that's going to happen and that pollution mustn't be. An 11-year-old girl told Mack, "I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world and we mustn't get too technologic." One child said that he was told that the world would end because they are not taking care of the planet. The children were adamant that they had not seen a plane. Hind noted that the different cultural backgrounds of the children gave rise to different interpretations of what they had seen, and they did not all believe that they had seen extraterrestrials. She noted that some of the children thought the short little beings were creatures from African folklore. The Ruwa UFO Incident quickly became one of the most famous UFO cases in Africa. On the June 2021 episode of the BBC's Witness History, the event was described as one of the most significant events in UFO history. Ufologists continue to cite the case as providing compelling evidence of extraterrestrial visits to Earth. Skeptics have dismissed the incident as one of mass hysteria or even a prank. You know children, they say crazy stuff sometimes. But admittedly, this environmental message sounds quite interesting. If aliens are here among us, studying us, then perhaps it's not in their best interest for us to ruin the planet. It might interfere with their experiments here. That's a compelling detail that a little kid shouldn't be able to make up, right? It's awfully specific. What do you think?